Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. My name is Nellie and I am an indie author of several books. And today we're going to be taking a look at two of those books and going through the design process for the covers. So, excuse me, excuse my voice, excuse my nose. I am still sick, but we got to get through this. So, let's get into it. Okay, so I'm going to be screen recording my laptop and we're just going to get into it. So, today we're going to be talking about With the Flames Catching Midnight and With the Rains Catching Dawn, which is novel 1 and novella 1 to the Catcher series. So, starting off, I started the entire process with sending my cover designer, Maria, kind of what I had. Now, I just realized this has everything in it. I think I'm gonna blur out the other books because I just realized because I had the idea for all the books already. But essentially, this is what I sent them. Well, her. And it's kind of what I wanted. Just branches and all that. So then, I went onto Canva and I made this mock-up of what the front cover would kind of look like, because this was just what I had in mind. And then I asked to kind of make the spine going down rather than vertical, because my Widow Magic series is all vertical, like it says Alluring Darkness on the side rather than on top of each other. And I also wanted my last name to be horizontal, which is kind of hard because where in this example Moss is only 4 letters, mine is a lot more than that. It's 7 letters, not that much more. But I figured because they're thick books, it'd be fine. It becomes a problem a little bit in Rains because it's a novella, so it's much smaller. We still did it horizontal. You can barely see my name, but it's still there. But yeah, so this is kind of what I said her way. I was like, these are the lookalikes in a way. I didn't necessarily want it to look like these. I just like the way that it's more like the title with like a background of things going on is what I wanted. So yeah, this is the starting point. Okay, and then we get into Canva, and I had, so basically in the thing that you just saw, I had just screenshotted this front section. So this is the idea that I had for the entire thing, except obviously here I just put it like that because it's easier for me to like just get, this was just for me to get a picture of like what the book would look like. Yeah, this is what we went into it wanting. And so because before I said like kind of play with it, she played with it and she played a little too far with it, because she came back to me first draft with these. And so I do like them, actually. I really do like them, but to me they're very werewolf romance. You know, they feel very paranormal. They feel very much like a werewolf specifically. So I was like, yeah, that's not gonna work. It feels too paranormal. Try to stick closer to the image that I sent you. So then she sent me these. So I hated the leaves on these. They look so fake that I was like, that's not working for me at all. But I was like, I also didn't like the fonts, but I was like, that background, perfect. We got that one down on this round. So then she sent me another round, and so this time she pretty much got it, except for the fonts. We're gonna continue ignoring the fonts. So she sent me these 3 rounds, and so you can see they're pretty much all the same with like tweaks of differences. So this one has like branches sticking out in front. This one has like, this one's the most basic one, and then I think she added to it for these. This one has it right here instead of here. This one and this one are pretty much the same, except this one has more leaves going about it. And if you see the final cover, you know that I chose this one. I just think it's not as much happening as this one, but it's not as boring as this one because the leaves kind of give it some color and some depth to the cover. But I was still not happy with these fonts. So then she came back to me with these fonts, and I was like, oh, now we're getting somewhere. And I loved this font. So I was like, okay, we're getting somewhere, we're going. So then we moved on to the novella Rains. So I was like, can you, before we like finalize things, can you do the novella too, so I can see kind of how the books next to each other will start to look. So she sent me these. They say book 2. We got that fixed real quick because it's like, it's not book 2. Anyway, so she sent me these 2, and I love both of them, honestly. But this one reads more dawn to me. This one reads more dusk to me. So I was like, okay, it's kind of obvious which one I'm gonna go with. So I went with this one because it just feels more dawny, whereas the orange feels more dusk to me. So that's where we went. And then again, the fonts, not this one. She went with this font. So I was gonna have her change that. But this is, while I was having her change stuff, I just put them next to each other to get a look of like how they would look together. And I was like, okay, yeah, they look great. Like the covers themselves look great. So then she came back with the revised font. I was like, oh, they're looking so good. But my bigger problem, oh, and she changed novella up here so that, because it's a novella, it's not a novel. You'll also see later on, because I forgot to have her change it here until like way later on, to change it to novel instead of book, because I call it book 1, but technically they're all books. So I was like, ooh, like to make more specific, it's technically a novel. So later on, we don't have that changed yet because I forgot about it. But we're looking at these, I'm like, oh, it's looking great. But I needed some, oh no, that's not where we went yet. I was like, it's looking great, but I didn't like this C. So I had her send me a different one. She sent me this one and I was like, okay, that's perfect. I don't even need to see anymore because that one's perfect. So that's where we were. And then I wanted some variation on at least one of the words, and I figured flames, or like the middle word for each book, would look the best. So I was like, can you send me that like in a colored version? So she sent it to me like this, because I asked for orange specifically. She sent it to me like this. I was like, oh, okay, that looks great. So then she did it for Rains as well, so I could see how the gradient would look on multiple books, not just one book. And this is a lighter blue than the one I think we ended up going with, but essentially still the same. I did ask for blue as well. Going into Ice, which is novel 2, I'm not entirely sure what that color gradient is gonna be, because we do have a mock-up of that cover right now. We don't have anything other than a mock-up, so we're still working on it, but I don't know what that color is gonna be, because it's also like Rain and Ice are both technically blue, so I don't know, we'll see. Okay, so we're back to this, and you see like the gradient and everything here. This is just so I could get an idea of what they look like together. The C's are different in this as well. Oh, I didn't even notice that. Interesting. I had her fix that. I had her fix the blue, because you can see here it's a darker blue than this light one here. I felt like the light was too similar to the light of the background. I was like, oh, that's too much lightness going on. So we went a little bit darker, and then I realized that the A's over here were like straight, and I was like, oh, we need them to be the same. And then we fixed the C's and everything. And this is where we fixed novel instead of book. So this is novel 1, novella 1. And yeah, that was the entire process. It did take a while just because she's in the Philippines, so it takes her, I don't know if like this isn't like the excuse why it takes her so long to respond, but it usually takes her a while to respond to emails. So it has taken a while to get to this point. But I love these covers. I don't know if you can tell. Let's zoom in. But Rains has raindrops on the leaves, which I absolutely adore. Oh crap, which I love. So that was that. Those are those 2 covers, and they look amazing next to each other. So, and then to look at the spines were really easy because she kind of just continued on the background and then just wrote. And then the only fix I had her do here was to add leaves, to a little bit of a tie-in, and then to change the logo color so that it wasn't like stark white against the background. And then same here, except we didn't put leaves here, and I actually didn't realize we didn't put leaves here until I was preparing this video, and I was like, there are no leaves on this background. It's not that big of a deal to novella, so it's fine. But yeah, same thing. You can see here my last name is horizontal, but it's so tiny you can barely read it. So yeah. So that was the design process for the first 2 installments of the Catcher series. I feel like I'm talking fast, but like I'm not. So if that was fast, I'm sorry, but yeah, that was the process. I'm really excited to see the rest of the installments. I asked her if we could just work on the other 4 installments right away. And then once each book starts to come out, I'll like contact her again, because you have to change them in terms of sizing. So like, hold on. I don't have final copies of the book, so don't judge me. Also, this is when I got the proof copy of this book. It still said book on it instead of novel. But in terms of sizing, you see how very different these sizes are. So she has to know how big of a file to send you so that it wraps around correctly. So I asked her if we can just get into doing all the covers. And then I'll have all the ebook covers completely done and ready. And then paperback covers will be ready up until like needing the sizing amounts for them. So yeah. So thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.